party there for my husband's birthday. This is last year. And I was really impressed by the place. And then I started to think about it in a bigger way. And then he told me about being shut down, one of the owners. And, I started thinking about how this would be perfect for tying into taking care of having a place for these kids to go to that are being rescued. And the ranch is it's in good condition and it's safe and it's a very interesting place. But it's also a perfect place for making movies that take place in, I would say, probably, Western times, pioneer times. But you could also, change it up so that it looked like 1920 or 1940. And so I said, has anyone ever talked to you about making movies here? And as soon as I said it to him, he said, no, that's never happened. But I heard the words in my head, Brigadoon. And what's Brigadoon? Well, that's a movie that has Gene Kelly in it, who looks a lot like the Kelly boys that I knew when I was young. And Gene Kelly was a singer and a dancer. He was in the era of Bing Crosby and Bing Crosby and Bob Hope, Danny Kaye, that era. Trying to think of who else was famous. Fred Astaire. Those were famous dancers and leading men. And Gene Kelly was in Brigadoon, and it's about a Scottish, or I don't know if it's a Scottish town, but I think it was a Scottish town. A village that's basically under a spell, and it comes to life every, I don't know, I haven't seen the movie in so long I've forgotten. I don't know, every 100 years or something, 200 years. So anyway, when I heard that little voice, Brigadoon, I was like, oh, because I finally started to connect some dots. So it's, as I say, this is bigger than just rescuing kids and having a camp scholarship fund. It's broader than that, and I've posted the link about it on my Getter feed under Lori Parrish. And I know that I'm right about it, so that's why I won't shut up. But it's like the person that should have been doing this and, producing it and working on the event, probably someone a lot younger and richer than me, because maybe they would have been getting the help that they needed. But, for whatever reason, God showed me this and what to do. So, I have a choice. I can either just pretend I didn't understand what God was telling me, or I could try to, go on faith and go and do it. I went on faith, and I'm doing it. But it hasn't been a very fun experience, put it that way. Part of it is that when I remember the past, it's very emotional and upsetting and draining. But the good news is, I believe the spell is broken. And I say spell, I mean a spell, okay? This world has been under a cloud, an illusion, which ties into the song, the winter song about that I played on the last show. And even Melissa Nelly at freedomforce.live, she has a video showing the cartoons from Sleeping Beauty, where everything's very quiet and messed up and very black and white, and then it comes to life when Sleeping Beauty is kissed by the prince. I mean, I do understand that you can't have people nowadays, promoting, just wait for your handsome prince to come and, everything will be fine. But when they were doing those kind of cartoons, it was after World War II, where a lot of people had died, and they wanted to get people feeling romantic and getting married and having kids, and that's where the baby boomers came from. But right now, in most countries, there's not enough population to sustain themselves. Not having less than 2 kids, and so that's not enough to sustain a society. But who's having a lot of kids are the Muslim countries, having multiple wives as well. And China also is has a big population. And that's why they went to the one-child policy. So Americans have got to start getting married younger, which you have less chance of health issues if you are not an older woman having children. And they have to have more kids. And, it's hard to have a big family when things are so expensive, but it's also an act of faith to do so. And that's one thing. When I talk about prosperity, I mean abundance and fertility and, revival and renewal. And ties into this next phase of what has to be done. And I encourage you all to, if you find one of these episodes interesting, to download it. You just go to the little cloud image and it downloads, and then you can save it for future reference, because I don't know how much of my stuff's going to get wiped off. I think my platform only allows so many hours and only so many live shows a month. So, I put some audio on my website, but I don't know how many hours I can upload. So if you find something that I'm saying interesting, please download the episode by hitting the little cloud, and then you can get like an audio of it and then play that at a later date. But one thing that I wanted to kind of clarify is that, yes, my name is Lori. That's a very common name for my generation, as was Lisa and Linda and I can't remember, Michelle. That was also a very common name in my generation. But the letters actually stand for other words, like L as in learn, O as on, R as in real, and then I as in incircle. Incircle is a real word, as is ENCIRCLE. Both tie into rings, and rings tie into my story. But it's kind of like, how can I put this? For me, I don't know how it'll be for you when you start having things happen to you, which more and more people are having experiences and visions and insights, and having their waking up and having their intuition activated, etc. For me, I knew it was time to talk about the name of my colleague Rembrandt, because I went outside dark one night, and I had him with me, and suddenly a light was shining on him, or coming from him, that was purple. And it's because he comes from a very noble line, of, breeding. He was his breed, who he came from, is a very special line of collies. I didn't know that when I pursued him. I found it out later. And so that was God's way of showing me now's the time to talk about his bloodline, because it does matter. And, I'm not saying that he should be president because he comes from special ancestors. And I'm not into worshiping ancestors. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that the people that were supposed to be in charge of this world were prevented from doing so. Like even in the Muslim faith, they had their leaders that were good and kind and just and wise. They were assassinated, and then radical ones came in their place. So this is not the world that God intended for us, but we're not supposed to just say, "Oh well, I guess we do a do-over later on." I mean, that's part of the struggle, is that this is not what God planned, but it's also not God's plan for us to just accept it. So that's why we have to be more activated, I guess is the word. But part of it is that this great awakening is getting people to figure things out on their own. And like I said before, I don't get a text message from God. I don't get an email or a phone call. I get it in very unexpected ways, and I also get it when I'm least expecting it. And one of the things that, in my case, I don't know whether it'll be this way for you, I hear things that other people don't, and I see things that other people don't. And for me to admit that on this platform, just sets me up for all kinds of ridicule. But that's the truth. I see and hear things that other people don't. And it's not because I'm delusional or because I'm taking drugs. I've never taken, illegal drugs. It's because I asked God when I was, when my kids were in college, and I was so scared and worried about them after the threats I got. I asked God to tell me what to do and fill me up and show me and guide me, and I'll do it, Lord. And I never did that before in my life. And almost immediately things started happening. And I was like, you want me? I was like, so what? So I'm telling you this ahead of time because it's not just pastors or really devout people that are going to be needed in this next part of this big endeavor that we're on. It's just ordinary people who hadn't even, heard about God or about the Bible or about it being supernaturally encoded, and it is, or about certain people that are movers and shakers. It's even little nobodies are a part of this. And that's what's so beautiful about it, that you can be a person that likes to make costumes and you're good at it. So you start getting involved in this new studio that's going to be coming. And it's not going to be me. I mean, I'm not a big enough wheel. It's other people that are going to be doing this, making the studios and having good people work there that have been vetted and that, aren't going to molest children and aren't going to be doing satanic rituals and aren't going to be taking kids into the back room and having sex with them, which is what's been going on in a lot of these Hollywood studios. I hate to say that, but the perversity, the demonic behavior, it's revolting.